All right, welcome. Hopefully you can hear me. Those of you that are joining me live, it's so great to be back doing a live yoga medicine class online. Getting started in just a moment. Alrighty, hello and welcome. Welcome to Yoga Medicine Online. I'm Dana Diamant. This is going to be a myofascial release and a yin class today. So I've got 2 balls, a couple of blocks, a blanket, and a bolster. You can use a variety of things that you have at home to substitute for any of these items. You will want at least 1 ball or 2 if you've got is even better. And we're going to get started with some breath work. So let's actually find ourselves in a comfortable seat. I'm going to use my bolster and sit in Virasana. Sukhasana. You can sit in Virasana if you would like. And most importantly, just make yourself comfortable. We'll be here for a few minutes. So you could also lie down if that's just what you needed today as well. We're going to do an inhale for 4, exhale for 6, and we'll slowly increase that exhale to a count of 8 over several rounds. So it will last for a few minutes. That's why I want to make sure that you're nice and comfortable. From here, you can close your eyes. You can soften your gaze to the floor. And just firstly becoming aware of your breath. And maybe even aware of where there might be some restrictions or limitations in your breath. And maybe you're starting to notice that as you tune into your breath, as you give yourself space and time without rushing, that a deeper breath becomes more available to you. As you continue to arrive, you might notice the breath also expanding so that there's a sense of movement of the rib cage in 3 dimensions, front, side, back. And being patient with yourself, allowing that to perhaps develop as we go through the more targeted breath work. So let's get on the same page. Go ahead and exhale, empty all the breath out. And inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. This time exhaling for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 more rounds. I'd like you to choose your own ratio. Whatever feels soothing, whatever feels steady for you. And then letting go of the breath work. And just notice what has become available to you as a result of doing that breath work, whether that's in your body, in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit. Noticing the extra capacity, perhaps, even if that's a capacity for relaxation, for softness, for the yin that feeds the yang. And if it's meaningful to you, you might like to bring your hands together in front of your heart, and bowing the head down, and starting the practice with gratitude. I find that when we come back to being grateful for what we already do have, that often alleviates the pressure of needing to do more or be more, and that often when that pressure disappears, it naturally opens the doorway to step into more. So back to gratitude, a moment here to maybe pick 1, 2, or 3 things that come to mind that you feel grateful for in your life, in your practice, in your body. Namaste and welcome to practice today. Let's begin. So I'm going to start with some myofascial release first. So we're going to do the adductors, and we're also going to do into the side body a little bit, and that's going to prepare us for revolved Janushirasana. So you'll need just 1 ball actually and a block. And we're going to lay on our side. So come on down onto your right side. You could use this blanket here for a pillow if you'd like, or you could hold your head in your hand. I'm just going to hold my head in my hand, which is a little easier with the mic. But if I was doing this at home, I'd be getting more comfortable, or if I was doing this on my own. So right leg is going to be straight, and then the left knee will bend. And we're going to want to place the block underneath our inner thigh, our adductor there. And we're going to find 3 spots on the inner thigh. So the block's going to come pretty close, go out towards the knee. And then I want to place the ball not on the knee, but right inside the knee will be our first spot there. Now you could just be still. You could kind of roll forward a little bit so that you get more of your body weight onto that ball. Or if you'd like to find a little bit of movement, you can pick your foot up off the floor. And you've got 2 options here. One is kind of rolling forward and back, and that will be in the same direction of the muscle fibers. The other one is taking the leg a little bit up and down, making sure the movements are small so that that ball doesn't roll away from you. And that's going against the direction of the muscle fibers. So for some people, you might find that a little bit more intense. Now we're going to be here for another minute. And I just like to offer you the space to adjust this as, to what's going to feel good for you. So you might decide to come back to stillness. You might decide to stay with one technique and find what's going to feel helpful. Now you've got 30 seconds here. Tune back into your breath. Find that expansive, slow breath again. And when you're ready, we'll move the ball into the middle of the thigh now, finding another spot. And knowing that you could always move the ball a little bit further in or further out or up or down, just exploring where there might be a trigger point, a helpful spot there that feels tender, but shouldn't make your whole body grip up and, just waiting for this to be over. But hopefully there's an invitation to find that you can kind of melt into this. Same options. You could be still, just let your leg be heavy and let gravity do the work. You can pick up your foot and lift the leg up and down, or rock your hips forward and back. Perhaps you might be just feeling a little lazy today and you want to rest that foot on the ground. There's not too much of a right or wrong. The best thing is just to listen in, tune into your body, tune into what feels helpful. Okay, we've got 30 seconds here. One more breath. All right, so for the next one, we want to find one more spot a little further towards the groin. You might need to move your block even closer towards your leg to feel that. And we want to just find another spot, not right into the groin, that's going to possibly be uncomfortable. We want to avoid the pubic bone, and we want to avoid this little dip in here of the femoral triangle. So maybe like an inch in front of the groin, coming down. You might find you need the block up on its higher height potentially as well, depending on your range of motion and flexibility. You might find that helpful. Might also be easier to get more of your body weight on top of that ball. And I'd just be mindful here that if you're using that block, turning it up, that there's only a narrow surface here for that ball to rest on. So movements, just make them small so that that ball doesn't roll away from you. But I kind of find in this spot, once you get to compression, just stay still, it's usually enough. Breathing deeply here. Letting that leg get heavier and heavier. Three more breaths. Okay, we're going to slowly come off of that. And you can move the block over to the top of your mat for a moment. Just come and lay on your back. Take your feet to the edges. And windshield wiper your knees side to side. And perhaps you can notice so we work the left leg, you might even notice a difference in these windshield wipers already, how that feels. One side maybe being more fluid or even just less clunky. Take one more breath here. So we're gonna switch to the upper body. We're gonna stay on the right side, and we're gonna work a little bit on the lats and the infraspinatus here. So you will probably want a pillow for your head. And before we place the ball, I just want you to kind of feel this on your own body. So if you take your left hand, reach across to your shoulder blade, And I want you to come and find the edge of the shoulder blade right near your armpit. See if you can feel that bony edge of the shoulder blade. This is where we're going to want to place the ball, feeling like it's on some soft tissue. You might even place it just at that very bottom kind of tip where it starts to, before you feel like you're just on your ribs, right? We want to place it there. There's a lot of kind of things that intersect there, muscles that intersect. So you can come and lay down. You can bring that right arm out in front of you, place the ball into position, bring your head either onto that blanket, or you might even feel like you want a bit more height. You can place your head onto a block. I kind of find with this one, like once you get in there and you're still, it's usually enough. It's one of those ones that make you want to go, exhale pretty loudly and sigh. So we're going to be here for another 40 seconds. Take as many deep breaths as you need. Well done, we're nearly there. One more breath here. All right, and then come on up from there. We're going to swap the ball for the block now. And place that block right in the center of your armpit. You'll come up onto your forearm and hold your head, or rather onto your elbow and hold your head in your hand. So I want this top edge of the block to be right in the center of my armpit. Then from there, I want you to lean back and then just lean forward. Lean back and lean forward. And just do that another 30 seconds or so. Just getting a little bit broader area instead of just one point, we're just getting a bit more surface area. Take one more breath here. All right, and then coming up from there, we're going to move our way into our first yin pose, which is going to be revolved Janushirasana. So we've going to use the myofascial release to prep for the inner thigh and the armpit area. So for this, you might like to bring your bolster onto your extended leg. So I've got my left leg extended, my right knee is bent, my right foot in towards my groin. If you feel like you roll back here, you could also take the blanket and sit up onto it. Placing your sit bones onto that blanket, right? And you might need a little bit more height, so feel free to fold the blanket up a little bit more. So let's readjust. We'll get the bolster onto the leg coming forward, perpendicular. And then from here, you might feel like you need also a block. We are going to come and fold forward here. Bring the left elbow or forearm onto your block or onto your bolster. So you want to try to get a side bend happening. If you need to, you can bend your left knee, of course. And then once you're in the side bend and you feel like you're going to come over as far to the side that feels good for you today, we'll take the right arm over the head. So we'll have the arm over the head for about 1.5 minutes, and then we'll bring it down. You can close your eyes. Rather than thinking about pushing your way into this shape or forcing your way, can you let your body become soft? Can you let your body become heavy? You can go ahead and lower the right arm down, but stay in the side bend. Just place that hand onto your leg. And let your head get even heavier in your hand. Notice your breath. You might enjoy taking those deeper breaths or simply just watching the ebb and flow of breath here. We've got one more minute here together. And keep bringing your mind back to one point of focus as it wanders off. Take one more breath here. Now to come out of this, I like to turn my head down to look at the mat. And I'll bring my right hand down to the mat as some support. As I fold forward just a tiny bit, bring my torso back to the center. And then come on up from there. You can move your props aside. And let's come and do some cat and cow before we come into our myofascial release on the other side. This is a nice way just to kind of check in with the asymmetry, noticing, just being able to notice the work that we've done and the way it, frees things up straight away. You might find like you want to come into some circular movements there, you can. All right. So let's do all of that on the other side. Grab your block and a ball and come and lay on your left side. You might want that pillow for your head, then bring your blanket along as well. So this time I've got my left leg extended, and you'll extend your right arm or rest onto your pillow, which I can do with you. My mic's not in the way. And bring your right leg across so that you can get a sense of, where you need your block. Bending your right knee and resting that right inner thigh on the block, and just kind of set yourself up. You might need to adjust the position of your block so you feel more comfortable. And once you've got a good spot for it, lift up your leg and slide the ball under your right inner thigh, about maybe a thumb width or so, a thumb length from the actual knee coming in, so that we're really working on the soft tissue there. All right, from there, we will be able to have those same options. You could be still, which at first might be what you need, or lift your foot and move your leg up and down, or forward and back, kind of rocking from the pelvis, from the hips. So we did about 2 minutes in each spot on the other side, so really taking our time here to get in there pretty thoroughly. We have about a minute left in this one spot. And let this really be an exploration. So feel like you can change the technique. You can Tune into your breath. You can sigh and make noise if you need to. You might notice that it's different on either side. So you might find maybe the right leg is more or less tender than the left. And it's not right or wrong, just some things for you to notice about yourself. Take one more breath here. And then we'll move the ball. You might need to move your block as well to the middle of the thigh. Same option. Be still, roll around. The movement might be nice to just help you investigate or explore what's happening in the tissues. I find with this one, when we're doing the longer holds, after a while, the foot might get tired, or like your leg, your hamstrings might get tired from keeping that foot off the floor. So after a while, just allow yourself to melt into this pose. Let your leg be heavy, keep that foot on the floor. Letting go of the struggle, letting go of resisting what's showing up in the present moment. You've got 2 more breaths here. And we're going to find that third spot. So remember to, be about an inch or two away from right into the groin. We want to be right kind of in front of this area called the femoral triangle, where you kind of feel like it divots in or sinks in. You want to be just right in front of that. And you might find taking the block a little bit higher can be helpful to get right into this spot. Yeah, movement is up to you. You can be still. Working through the adductors, the inner thighs, is really great to get the blood circulating and free up kind of these tissues where we have really big vein. The femoral artery runs through, so really big supplier of blood to the leg. And the tightness in the adductors could potentially inhibit that circulation. Okay, we've got another 3 breaths here. Last one. Awesome. Come off that. You can roll onto your back. And we'll find some windshield wipers here. And notice again from the right to the left what feels a little bit different. Does it feel more the same? Both sides still feeling, is there any restriction? One more breath here. And then let's come back to lying on the left. Feel free to grab that pillow again for your head, or even a block on top of the blanket, depending on how high up you want to be lifted up. And we'll lie down. Actually, let's do that palpation we did on the other side. So it's just kind of helpful to find the spot. So take your right hand across to your left shoulder blade this time, and coming out to the side towards the armpit, finding the edge of the shoulder blade. We're going to work right in there, close to the tip, close to the bottom, but above sort of that, where you feel the rib cage in that area. So come on down, you can bring that left arm in front of you. Place the ball underneath you. Whew, as soon as you go, whew, you know you're in the right spot, but do make sure that there's still a sense that you can relax there, so your whole body is not tensing up, even though that spot might feel a bit intense. And again, that's probably because there's many different muscles intersecting in this area, so there's just a lot of tissues to work with. Now you're here for just another 30 seconds. Deep breath. Notice what you're feeling. Can you keep your attention there without running away in your mind elsewhere? Last breath here. Okay, come up from there. You can move the ball aside. Grab your block on its middle height, placing that block into the armpit so that that top edge of the block is right in the center of the armpit. And then hold your head in your hands. Bring your knees out in front of you. Stack your legs together. And so we're just going to roll back and then roll forward. Mostly just trying to catch that back flap of the lats and behind the armpit, below the shoulder blade. All right, 20 more seconds with this. I know it can feel like a lot. Can't say that I love it myself. One more time. Okay, nice. Come up from there. So let's set up for our Janu Sirsasana revolve, or side Janu Sirsasana. We're going to take the blanket, sit onto it if you'd like. If you feel that's helpful in terms of getting your pelvis to tip forward. And then we'll take the right leg out this time. Left knee bends, left foot comes in towards the groin. Then you could have this right knee bent. Maybe there's a block under that knee. You might find that really helpful. Grab your bolster and place it over your right thigh, perpendicular. So I find that's really nice just to have one end of the bolster resting on the ground so that you have that support that you need for your side bend. As you come in, if it feels too intense, you could put a block on top of the bolster so that you're not folding to the side as much. And then we'll take the left arm over the head, resting your head in your right hand. Making any adjustments that you need to get comfortable, or rather, maybe get comfortable is the wrong way of saying it, but just the props feel supported so that they can support you in the discomfort. So you can find that opportunity to be still, to just be here. And sometimes, being able to expand our capacity is so much a mental thing, and being able to sit in the discomfort of something, maybe the discomfort of not being good at something, right? Or not having something come easily to us, or feeling like we might need to develop some skills or develop some area of our body. And so that expansion of capacity is being willing to be present to whatever's showing up without running away from that discomfort. And that's what the yin practice is so good at, so good at offering us. Go ahead and lower your left hand down, staying in the side bend for a couple more minutes here. Noticing whether softness that you could feel into, dive into. You might even notice that some space becomes available in the shape that you would like to take up. Sometimes we might even feel like we're the ones holding ourselves back. So if that feels like natural for you to do in the shape, that invitation is there and it feels really great, go for it. But there's no need to force or push yourself to do any more. Just under a minute here. Gently, gently start to turn your head down towards the mat. Bringing your left hand down to the mat for some support. Bringing your spine back to the center and gently walking your hands in back to upright. You can go ahead and move the block and move the bolster. And coming to all fours again, let's see how cat and cow feels. Making this your own. So any kind of cat cow like movements, circular, linear, whatever feels like a helpful exploration where you can kind of tune in and feel into the nooks and crannies of your body. All right, so let's come into our next yin pose, which is going to be butterfly. So I invite you to sit up onto that blanket again if needed, or if it feels like a really nice support for your pelvis. So you want to feel like you can sit at the very edge of the bolster and that pelvis begins to tip forward. Some other ways where you might feel supported is in taking the blocks underneath your thighs as an option. And then if you're not folding forward as far, you could take your bolster on an angle here and bring your forehead down. So one end of your bolster on the sticky mat, your forehead on the other end. If you're coming down and you need those blocks for underneath your forehead, you can stack them up on top of your bolster. So finding a configuration here with your props that feels appropriate for you today. Please remember that word today. And it's not what we did last week or last year or even yesterday, potentially. All right, so we're here for another 3 minutes. If it feels inviting to you, go ahead and shut down the eyes. Notice where you might have that internal dialogue of needing something, even the shape, to be more than what it is. And it's possible, as I mentioned in the beginning, that often what's holding us back, or what is that the barrier to showing up more or being able to, do things, the things that we'd like to do, is just that pressure, that expectation. That pressure itself could be what's holding us back, of it needing to be perfect or done a certain way or by a certain time. In this pose, maybe you can connect to that feeling of softening or spaciousness or receiving, and to expand in that way. And take another 3 breaths here. And taking your time to come up from there nice and slowly. Move the block out of the way. And extend the legs out in front. Give them a little bit of a shake. You might even bring the feet flat to the mat and check out our windshield wipers again. Be a little bit different since we're not supine just yet. You might notice your spine, how your spine feels here as well. All right, so let's come into a restorative twist now. You'll just need your bolster. Bring that bolster out in front of you. And we're going to sit on the right hip. You could bring your legs out into a deer shape here, so finding like 90 degrees, knee right out from that hip, foot out from the knee. That will add a little bit more of what you feel in the hips. If you want something gentler, you can Stack your legs on top of each other, placing your left shin in the sole of your right foot. I'm going to go with the deer shape here today myself. I like to have some space between my hip and my bolster. That's going to allow my belly to breathe freely rather than it resting on the bolster. And then from there, I can bring my chest and the right side ear onto the mat. And then walk the hands out in front of you so that your elbows are just a little bit forward of your shoulders. And then let your chest truly drop down into that bolster. Feel the spaciousness across your upper back as a result. Notice your belly moving with your breath. And just noticing your breath here and what becomes naturally available to you through your breath. Is there an energy? Is there a feeling of acceptance or peacefulness or a feeling of even empowerment here? Let your body get heavier. One more breath here. Slowly coming up from there, and we'll just switch sides. So turning over to be on your left hip. Again, choose higher if you'd like to stack your legs or separate them into more of a deer shape. And then we'll come down, resting your chest, your left ear on the bolster, walking your hands forward so your elbows are just in front of your shoulders rather than kind of underneath them or behind. This is such a lovely pose to feel that sense of support. Using this in practice to truly support yourself as you go about your endeavors. A way to love yourself and refuel. Top up on your beliefs in yourself, letting go of any doubt. You might notice then come up in your mind.
Can you let them go? Just like they came in, let them go so that they're merely visitors, not taking up residence. Three more breaths here. Then as you slowly come up from there, go ahead before you come all the way out of the pose. Hopefully your blanket's nearby. If it's not, then you will need to come out of the pose. But if you can, grab your blanket, place it on top of the bolster there, and then come on out, turn around so that your back is to the bolster. And we want to lie back here, have quite a bit of space between the back of your hips and the bolster. We want this edge of the bolster to come to the mid back so that your lower back can drape off the bolster, and then your blanket is there as a pillow for your head. Take your arms down by your sides. The simple act of slowing down is often the best way that we can expand our capacity. Slowing down to recharge, to reconnect with our heart. And enjoying this moment here with yourself, simply for just being here, not needing it to be anything else than a moment with yourself. Not needing to have it all figured out, not needing to have a plan, just the simplicity of breath, body, stillness. Now you're welcome to stay here for Shavasana if that feels good. Feels like a good option to continue staying here as you are. You can also move your bolster and your blanket out of the way and lie on your back. Maybe the bolster moves to underneath your thighs. dropping into stillness even more. Letting go of ambition, moving into your heart space even more. Feeling that everything is okay in this moment, nothing to change. Feeling the resistance to whatever might be present for you, feeling that resistance melt away and soften. Perhaps even seeing in your mind yourself stepping into whatever this new area is, whether that's a skill or a way of being or a relationship. When you're ready to come out of Shavasana, you might like to bring some gentle movement into your hands and feet, reaching your arms up over your head, taking the stretch if any thought feels welcomed in your body. If you're still on your bolster, you might choose just to come straight up to a seat, or you can roll over to the side. And let's just finish here, seated. Feel free to grab something to sit on. Taking a moment to close our practice together. Hands can come together in whatever way feels meaningful to you. Take a breath in and empty out. Let's finish the way that we began. Gratitude. Here in Australia, I give gratitude to the traditional custodians of the land, the Bundjalung people, for giving us a place to call home, a place to practice, a place to share the teachings. Gratitude for the teachers that have passed down the wisdom and the tools. Gratitude for you. Thank you for the privilege of teaching. Take another breath here. Let it go. Lifting the head, opening the eyes. Namaste. Thank you.